Right now, you think you're doing okay. But in 5 years, you might regret everything. You wake up, go to work, earn a decent salary, and tell yourself you're on the right track. From the outside, your life looks stable, maybe even successful. But what if I told you this path you're on right now could quietly lead you into one of the biggest financial traps of your life? You did everything right. Good grades, a good job, a 6-figure salary. You followed the plan exactly the way everyone told you to. Study hard, get a stable career, work your way up. And now you finally made it. Or at least, that's what it's supposed to feel like. So let me ask you something honestly. Why are you still broke? Why does it still feel like you're behind? Right now, there are thousands of people making over $100,000 a year, living in big cities, working respectable jobs, and still living paycheck to paycheck. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why that happens, and why this so-called dream salary might actually be one of the biggest financial traps in modern life. Let's say you finally hit it. That number you've been chasing for years, $100,000 a year. It sounds like freedom, right? You imagine a clean apartment with a city view, a nice car parked outside, dinners without checking prices, maybe even a couple of vacations a year. For a moment, it feels like you've leveled up, like you finally escaped the struggle. But then, something strange starts to happen. Slowly, almost quietly, things start to feel off. Your bank account isn't growing the way you expected. Your stress hasn't disappeared, and somehow, no matter how much you earn, you're still waiting for payday, still checking your balance, still feeling pressure. And that's when confusion turns into frustration, because this wasn't supposed to happen. But here's the truth most people never stop to think about. That $100,000 salary, it's not really $100,000. Once taxes hit, federal, state, maybe even city taxes, you could easily lose 25% to 35% of that income. Suddenly, that 6-figure dream turns into something closer to $65,000 or $70,000 in actual take-home pay. Now break that down monthly. You're looking at roughly $5,000 to $6,000 a month. At first, that still sounds decent, but then reality steps in. Rent alone in many U.S. cities can take $2,000 or more. Add utilities, insurance, groceries, transportation, subscriptions, and unexpected expenses, and suddenly, that good money starts disappearing faster than you ever imagined. And this is where the real trap begins to tighten. Lifestyle inflation. The moment your income goes up, your lifestyle follows. Not because you necessarily need more, but because you feel like you deserve more. You upgrade your apartment because you can. You finance a better car because it feels right. You start eating out more, spending more, living a little bigger. And none of it feels reckless. In fact, it feels normal. It feels earned. But what you don't notice is that your expenses are rising just as fast, sometimes even faster than your income. So even though you're making more money, your financial situation doesn't actually improve. It just becomes more expensive to maintain. And underneath all of this, there's something deeper happening. You're not just spending money on things. You're spending money on identity, on validation, on proof that you've made it. The nicer apartment, the better clothes, the upgraded lifestyle, it all sends a message to other people, but more importantly, to yourself. It tells you that your hard work paid off, but that validation comes at a cost, a hidden cost that shows up every single month in the form of bills, obligations, and pressure. Because now, it's not just about earning money, it's about maintaining a life that requires it. And that's when you realize you're stuck. You can't just walk away from your job because your entire lifestyle depends on that paycheck. You can't easily take risks, start something new, or slow down because the financial consequences would be immediate. This is what people call the golden handcuffs. From the outside, it looks like success, stability, achievement. But from the inside, it feels like a cage. A very comfortable cage, but a cage nonetheless. And the most dangerous part is that it doesn't feel like a trap at first. It feels like progress. Now think about what you're actually trading for this lifestyle. It's not just your skills or your effort, it's your time. 40 hours a week turns into 50, sometimes 60. Deadlines, meetings, responsibilities, they don't stop just because your salary increased. If anything, they grow with it. You become busier, more responsible, more mentally drained. And when you finally get time to yourself, you're too exhausted to use it meaningfully. So what do? You look for quick relief, entertainment, convenience, small rewards that make you feel better in the moment. And most of the time, those things cost money. So you spend again. And without realizing it, you've built a cycle where you work to earn and then spend to recover from the work. But the deeper issue isn't really your job or even your salary. It's the system you've been following your entire life. You were taught a simple formula: go to school, get a degree, find a stable job, and earn more money over time. And while that system can work, it leaves out something critical. It doesn't teach you how to keep your money. It doesn't teach you how to grow it. And it definitely doesn't teach you how to build freedom. So you end up optimizing for income instead of independence. And those two things are not the same. This is why so many people wake up years later feeling stuck. 5 years pass, then 10. You're still working, still earning, maybe even making more than before. But the feeling hasn't changed. You're still busy, still stressed, still telling yourself that someday things will slow down, that someday you'll finally feel free. But someday keeps moving. And that's when the realization hits the hardest. You didn't build freedom. You built a more expensive version of the same routine, a higher-paying loop that still keeps you in the same place. So how do you break out of it? It starts with a shift in how you think about money. Instead of chasing a higher salary, you start focusing on what actually creates freedom. You question every lifestyle upgrade before you accept it. You become intentional with your spending instead of automatic. You learn how to hold on to your money and make it work for you through investing, building assets, or creating income streams that don't depend entirely on your time. Because real wealth isn't about how much you earn. It's about how much control you have over your life. At the end of the day, $100,000 isn't the finish line. It's just another level. And if you play the game the same way everyone else does, you'll face the same outcome, just with bigger numbers. More income, more expenses, more pressure. And if you're not careful, you can spend decades chasing the next level, thinking that the next raise, the next promotion, the next milestone will finally fix everything. But it won't, because the trap isn't the amount of money you make. It's the way you're taught to use it. And if you think this is just about money, it's not. It's about time, freedom, and the life you're slowly building without even realizing it. So the real question isn't how much you earn. It's this: are you actually moving forward, or are you just running faster on the same path? And if you don't change that path soon, you might wake up one day with everything you thought you wanted and still feel like something is missing. And if you think this trap is bad, wait until you see what happens when you keep waiting for the right time to finally take control of your life.